Well, good morning. It is Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. I hope that you had a great weekend and that you did something special for your mom on this past weekend. Do want to go ahead and start our next lesson on 11.4, the Pythagorean theorem. Now, you've heard of this before. Maybe you heard it this way. The sum of the sides of the legs of a right triangle is equal to the square of the hypotenuse. Did you ever watch Wizard of Oz? The Tin Man said that because he wanted his brain. It sounded very intellectual. It's not hard. It's just sounds intellectual. Pythagorean theorem. Before we do that, let's go through our lesson opener. I am going to let you pause here, solve each one, and then we will continue on with our lesson. You pause it, solve each 1 through 5, and remember some of them might be no answer. Never know. All right? Okay, pause it and do it. Okay, we're back. Here you go. Check your work. Make sure you got it right. Here we go. X squared is what? That if you were to solve the square root of x squared, square root of x squared plus equals 4. You take the square root of x, that cancels the 2, and you get plus and minus 2. No real solution. There are no two numbers that you multiply together that give you a negative number, so there's no real solution. Okay. Number 3, you're going to square both sides, and you get 16. Square both sides again. No real solution. All right, can't square both sides and get negative 4. That's no real solution. And of course, the answer is negative 16 because you can square both sides on both of those. Okay. All righty. We're going to move along to then the Pythagorean theorem. Here's a right triangle. Now, let's take a look at each of the parts. Now, you notice you have a right triangle. Why is it right? Because the bottom right corner is a right triangle. That forms a 90-degree angle, and therefore it is a right triangle. Notice you have two legs. Legs, L-E-G, leg, okay? Those are connecting the right triangle, the right angle in the triangle. Now, if you put your finger on the screen, put your finger at the right triangle and go straight out to the other side, the opposite side of the right triangle, and you're going to come to the word hypotenuse. It is important that you know the hypotenuse. In today's lesson, I'm going to tell you the two legs, and you're going to tell me how to solve for the hypotenuse. Okay, that's our lesson today. We'll do another lesson on this tomorrow, but we'll be looking for the leg instead of the hypotenuse. Okay, so finger on the right angle, sorry, go straight out to the hypotenuse. When you do that, you've got the hypotenuse, then there's a relationship there. This was developed by a Greek philosopher, Pythagorean, though it was used long before he took claim to it. But Pythagorean was the one we give credit to, though there are more. Pythagorean theorem says if the hypotenuse of a right triangle has a length of c, and the legs are a and b, okay, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Square the leg, add them together. That will give you the hypotenuse squared. Okay, so let's go through that. Find the hypotenuse of a right triangle with its legs of 18 and 25. Okay, so the theorem is c squared. Your job is to find c. A squared plus b squared. Okay, a would be 8, b would be 15. So notice how we substituted that in there. C squared equals a squared plus b squared. All right, so 8 squared plus 15 squared. Factor them together, or multiply them together. C squared equals 64 plus 25. Go ahead and add that together. C squared equals 289. Now, you're not done. C is not by itself. How do we get rid of the square? Take the square root. All right, notice there it is. Take that square root, and when you do that, C equals 17. You plug into your calculator the square root of 289, or if you memorize those squares, which I hope you're working on that, that would be helpful for you when you get to higher level math. Okay, C equals 17. So what is the length of the hypotenuse? 17. Now, you will know your answer's right if C is greater than A and B. The hypotenuse is always greater than A or B. If you came up with 4, your answer's wrong. because 4 is not greater than A or B, okay? So you want to be sure that you know that C must be greater than B, A or B. Good. All right, here's 6 and 7. Find these legs. Then find the hypotenuse given these legs. There's our formula. It does not hurt you to write the formula every time. It's awesome. All right, C squared equals A is 6, B is 7. All right, square them. Add them together. C squared equals 85. Now take the square root of both sides. There we go. All right, now square root 85. Notice that's not a perfect square. Most of the time, I'm going to ask you to round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so the square root of 85 is about 9.2. Nearest tenth is sufficient for me for anything that I give you to solve. Okay, 9.2 is fine. Square root of 85, 9.2. Notice it's not a perfect square, but that's okay. Just solve it anyway. Okay. All right. Here's a skills check. I want you to pause it, and I want you to solve each of these equations. And then when you're finished, start the video again, and I'm going to give you the answers, okay? All right, the answers are, now that you've all finished those, make sure you paused. I hope you did that, okay? Is 13, 26, and then square root of 149, which is 12.2. Notice that we rounded to the nearest tenth. That's our lesson for today. We'll pick up tomorrow with another lesson on how to find the sides of the, if you're given the hypotenuse. Have a great day. I'll catch you later.